In this video, I want to show you how to set up conservative futures bots. All right, so now go to create bot, click on create bot, and then scroll down to conservative futures bot. Select it, click next. All right, when you click next, you choose that, write the name of the coin you want to trade. For me, I will use ADA, and then I will select the coin, click on the option to select the coin. So search for ADA. Right, select ADA, and then choose your leverage. The highest leverage here is 3x. So you can decide to use 3x, can decide to use 2x or 1x. So I will choose 3x. And then now, before I continue, let me briefly explain each of the concepts here. The first concept is leverage. All right. Leverage is the borrowed trading power used to increase trade size. So I believe some of you have gone through my crypto course. I did a detailed explanation of leverage. Leverage means you are borrowing more money from the exchange to add to your portfolio, which automatically influences how the price increase and how you make profit or loss from the trade. For instance, if you use 3x leverage, it simply means that if the price of a coin increases by 1%, your own will increase by 3%. If the price of the coin reduces by 1%, your own price will reduce by 3%. If the price increases by 3%, your own will increase by 9%. If it reduces by 3%, your own will reduce by 9%. All right, so you have to each percentage multiply by 3. All right, that is it. All right, so we didn't add more leverage on this particular strategy because, of course, this is just a conservative futures trade. All right, so by the time we add other strategies, we may increase the leverage to 10 or 20, but for now we are using 3x because this is conservative futures trade. All right, so this particular strategy is a strategy that will save you from any form of liquidation. All right, so that is it. Maximum capital allocation, that's the maximum percentage of your account the bot can use per trade. So for instance, if I have $100, I always use $100 for example because of those who are using little capital to trade. So if you're using $100, you can say, okay, let me use 10% of that $100 to enter this trade. So you select 10%. All right. So now risk per trade. Risk per trade is the percentage of your account you are willing to risk on a single trade. All right. So in your entire account, how many percent of that your account do you want to risk for this particular trade? You can say, okay, I want to risk 1% of my account. You can say 2%. You can say 3%. You can say 5%. So for me, I want to risk just 2% of my account on this particular trade. And then ATR multiplier uses market volatility to calculate stop loss distance. So I can leave it at 2. And then the volume multiplier is used to check if market volume is strong enough before entering a trade. All right. So that is it. I can leave it at 1. Execution time frame, what I used before was 15 minutes, but I've decided to use 5 minutes for faster entry. And then trend time frame 1 hour. The next thing is the ADX. You can see the ADX here. So you can see now that it is optional. All right, so if you want to use it, you can still use it, but it is optional. So all I need to do is disable it. For me, I don't want to use it because it is taking time for you to enter trade, so I don't want to use it. And then the BB width, you can also make the BB width minimum 0. All right, if you want it to be, if you want the trade to be executing faster and you don't want it to be more restrictive as it was before, you can also leave the BB width minimum at 0. All right, leaving it at 0 we remove the more filters from the market. All right, but if you want to use it at all and you don't want it to be too strict, you can also make it 0.01. All right, but for this trade, I want this trade to execute faster, so I can leave it at 0. And then the minimum ATR, I will leave it at 0.1. Then take profit, I can leave my take profit at 4%, and then maximum daily loss 5, and then maximum daily profit I can leave it at 10. Now the reason for this maximum daily profit is so that the bot cannot overtrade. So you can decide to increase your own depending on what you want. All right, and then TP cooldown minutes, let me leave it at 30. And then enable RSI. Since I've disabled ADX, I have to enable this one. All right, so I'll click on save changes. After that, click on start. Okay, so that is the latest setup we have currently now. So you can always apply this if you want to trade futures. Thank you.